everybody. Welcome to the Mrs. Spann official podcast. I'm your host, Mrs. Spann. This is episode number 46 of the show. And yo, man, I know it has been a good little while since the last time y'all heard from your man Spann, man. Like I have been away doing a lot of things, man. Doing a lot of things, mostly family-oriented things, man. We had a family reunion here hosted by by yours truly, you know what I'm saying? And that took a lot of my time. Like I'm not gonna even front, man. Like that took a lot of time trying to plan a family reunion, especially since my family hasn't had a reunion since like 1997. So yeah, my family has been long out of practice, man, and but it was good to see like so many folks come to Detroit on behalf of me and like really embrace the whole idea of like, you know, just doing the whole family thing and having you know, younger relatives who didn't even know that they had cousins out this way come into Detroit and like, oh snap, this is cool, you know, because everybody has a really fucked up view of Detroit, but like this Detroit is on the comeback in a real strong way, and I had a really good time showing my family some of the good things that are happening in Detroit on top of just spending time with family. So yeah, that's been what has been consuming your boy for the better part of the last month and a half, man. Real talk, just like really diving in and trying to help put that together, right? So apologies for my absence, but that's where I've been at, man. That's where my head has been at, and so it's time to get back into the shit. But before we get back into the shit, I am not alone, man. I am not alone. I have a longtime friend here on the show, man. It's first time here on the Mrs. Spann official podcast. I've known this brother and known of this brother for a good long while, man. The podcast circle is small, baby. The podcast circle is small, and I am joined here tonight by the homie, comedian, host of, or one of the hosts of the Three Guys On podcast, Randolph Terrance. Say what's up to the people, fam.
Hey, y'all. How you feeling? Hope y'all doing tonight. I hope you got your best on.
Oh, my nigga. Yes. I hope y'all have y'all vest on, or you at least you got your glass shield on or something like that. Cause yo, man, let's just get right to it. We ain't even got. Y'all know how to get in touch with me here at the Mrs. Spann official podcast, and if you don't, it'll be in the show notes. We just gonna get right into it because like I said, it's been a long time coming for me and Randolph. He hit me up on what was that, Threads. And he was like, yo, man, you gonna have me on this show? And I'm like, you know what? You damn show right. This should have been happened a long time ago. And yo, first things first, I asked you, Randolph, how you liking Threads so far?
When I remember over there, then that's the kind of thing where I'll on Instagram, I'll see a thread, I'll go to Threads. Mm-hmm. But it's not where I can go right. Like you know how we wake up in the morning, they open up Twitter, this kind of crazy stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't open Threads. Yeah. Threads is like an extra.
Yeah. That's actually like I like Threads. One, they don't have any ads yet, which is one of the things I like about Threads. Right. The other thing is, I've actually kind of replaced Twitter with Threads. I very seldom am on Twitter much anymore.
So you just on Threads?
I'm mostly on Threads now. Like I completely kind of like gave up the Twitter. I might open up my Twitter every now and again just to see if somebody says something to me, because I know oftentimes folks will forget that like I'm not really there anymore. So I'll go over there just to see. But for the most part, man, I've been on Threads, and I be on Threads a hell of a lot more than I'm on Twitter. I haven't taken the Twitter app off of my phone yet, but I very seldom open it up anymore.
Right. I still go right to Twitter, although I just link to this on Threads.
Hey, not only that, so like ironically enough, speaking of like with the Twitter and stuff, you know, the whole thing with Elon Musk and like his whole rightward turn towards you know, being red pilled and everything else, I guess. That was one of the things for me where it was just like, all right, I think this is a sinking ship, and it's time for me to get the fuck up off of here. And I know like with the like that there's the one thing I do not like about Threads, and sometimes the users pat themselves on the back just for changing fucking apps, right? Like, oh my God, we're so much more. They do a lot of virtue signaling over there. Oh, they do so much virtue signaling. Like, oh my God, I can't believe people are still on Twitter. Like, motherfucker, it works. It works. That's the only thing I do not like about the folks on Threads is that they tend to hold themselves up to a higher regard because folks are still like as if they're better than the folks who are still on Twitter. It's like, man, calm down, relax. You just chose a different app. You're not a better person.
I just this week posted the Threads, and Fletcher Barber just asked, "You getting an emergency pod?"
Yo, man, we could not have planned this. We could not have planned this because, like, you know, I had some stuff that I had like kind of saved up that I wanted to talk about, and I'm wondering how much of this shit we're gonna actually even get to because of what's been happening today. You know what I'm saying? So, first things first, we got breaking news, y'all. We keep talking around. We got breaking news. All right. So, yeah, man, breaking news. Richard Simmons passed away today.
Yeah, we talked about our pod. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, man.
It's one of those things like, he's still alive? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's not now. Right.
Well, he's not now. Like, but here's the thing. Like, so Richard Simmons had kind of disappeared from the public spotlight. And it was one of those things where, like, I remember a few years ago, it's like how on Twitter when motherfuckers will kill you and you just living your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember there was a time where people were saying that the singer Avant was dead. And it was like, yo, bro, just had a little festival down south somewhere.
It's always deal.
Everybody's dying, you know, or if one of those things where they'll post an old story of somebody passing away and it'd be like, yo, but you do know that this happened like 8 years ago though, right? Like this didn't just happen. So like Richard Simmons passing away was like, oh, so he was still alive. He just wasn't fucking with nobody no more. He just kind of stayed to himself at a certain point. Right. It's one of those things where I think that like because of how we view notoriety and celebrity, I think oftentimes folks who are not used to having it can't understand somebody who's had it for so long no longer covets it. And like, so when they decided, they just wanted to just say, well, fuck it. I don't need this and I don't want this anymore. I just kind of want to like go away and just like live my life. For a large swath of folks, man, they can't understand why anybody would just want to step away from the public in that way.
Yeah. And he is, first of all, he was famous for long. He was famous out.
Yeah. All my life.
So and then some other crazy star. It's like he kind of got pushed to the side because he was like off dude who like believed in the mental aspect of it, helping people. And, a lot of real bodies in his views. You know what I mean? And then him Bo.
Yeah.
And then comes that Susan Powder. If you remember that, Susan Powder. That body by Jimmy, and he kind of got to the side.
Yeah.
You know, P98 and be combined pushing hard. He got pushed aside.
Yeah.
You know, and then he was out. I didn't say I heard that Pauly shit about him, and he I don't think go for it. Kind of favors him.
I was just going to say, if I was going to think of anybody who could play Richard Simmons in a biopic, it would probably be Pauly Shore. It would probably be him. Like, he damn sure has like the likeness down. I don't know if he has the mannerisms and the personality. If he can get that down, I'm not, because when was the last time I saw Pauly Shore in anything? I want to say Class Act, and you know how long ago that was.
Last thing I saw him and something about they were like a Biodome thing.
Yeah,
I think that was him.
You said Biodome? He might have been. I don't know. Because I'm trying to think who was the star of that. It wasn't him.
I think he
like Brendan Fraser or somebody like that.
Well, he was in Brendan Fraser. Fraser was like thought out in the fall.
Yeah, like it was like caveman shit or something like that.
Yeah.
Biodome, caveman, one of them damn like like mid '90s comedies.
Now, don't get me wrong. I have seen him. Yeah, man. He was in Biodome.
Biodome, okay.
He's one of the Baldwin guys. Yeah, you got it. No, I've seen him on the stand.
Yeah,
I've seen him. I've seen him shows. I mean, I'm not a fan of him, but
I've never seen him stand up.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah, I've never seen him do stand up at all. Like I've only seen him in like comedic roles in like television shows or in some movies, and even the movies that I would see him in, it wasn't as though he had like an expansive role. It was like, yo, they can't. Like I said, Class Act was the first thing that came up, and he was only in Class Act maybe 2 minutes tops.
Yeah, he's stand up. His mother followed Sammy and Mitzi or the comedy in LA.
Okay.
They're divorced. Mitzi got four. Sammy was old school, like Catskill type, a good his father's family. So Paulie grew up in like the of up and coming.
Okay.
Back when he was, you don't know about that, early MTV.
Yeah.
He had an opportunity to really like cut his chops, gonna be something like that. And then he got it. And then there was a time when he was short, big.
He was kind of all over the place. I mean, like he was like of the MTV. I want to say like of the MTV kind of like that shtick, and then on like doing commercials also. I remember him having a bunch of commercials. I want to say he had like a big Sprite campaign at one point.
It's possible. I wouldn't doubt it. But his I don't think he never
Yeah.
And just moving forward. He had a reality where he was going to take over the store in LA, bring it to great. But he never had that. The store is hot right now. Any night some of the best comedy in LA. Any more quality because the quality drastically.
Yeah. You would hope that somebody who has that who kind of has that leg up, right? When you, like everything is there for you to succeed in that, and you would hope that person would be like, oh, this is the incubation to be one of the greats.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he didn't incubate to be one of the greats. Like he was kind of like again, like I feel as though it was like almost probably not, but it feels like a flash in the pan sort of situation with Pauly Shore. Like he was everywhere for a hot minute, and then he was nowhere all at the same time. And all that to say, rest in peace to Richard Simmons, though.
Exactly. That's what it's all about.
Rest in peace to Richard Simmons, because yeah, man, I'm pretty sure that this probably would have been one of the largest stories of the day had some shit not popped off.
Right.
Literally at a Trump rally in Pennsylvania, right? So, other breaking news is that they are saying that Trump got popped at a Trump rally.
Well,
you saw an update? What they update now?
In my Twilight chat just said source who has spoken to the service Trump was not hit by a bullet. Rather his teleprompter.
Yeah, I heard that too. I heard that too. So, here's the thing. So I was on. I was in here getting, kind of getting prepped for the show, and I heard my TV in my bedroom, and I had on like MSNBC or something like that. Jonathan Capehart was on. And he was saying like Trump was attacked or something. I'm like, wait, what? So I get up, I go in the room, and I'm watching. And they're saying like they think that it was an assassination attempt, and like the audio that they had, it just looked as though like, yeah, they might have heard popping, but like when I looked at it, like, yo, maybe he got stung by a bee, because if somebody was shooting at you, I doubt that like, yo, that's all you got was a little blood around your ear, right? And then I watched another video. And this is when let's just pull this up because we can do that here. Let me pull this video up so we can watch together as a family because it's what we do here.
Absolutely.
Let's see.
Looking at some video that snap about
Wait, is this it? No, this isn't. This is the one right here? Okay, so I'm gonna pull this up so you guys can watch right along with me. Give me just a second while I share this screen here. All right. So we're gonna do this. I'm gonna move that one to the big one. All right. So let's see what this is here.
If you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Yeah, I think that's all the video shows. I've seen some of them taking what looks the person got another person. I guess somebody took that person out. And then the shoe my first thought was not black.
Hey, I'd be surprised if it was too many, if it was that many black people there to begin with. But because even when they have the blacks for Trump at a Trump rally, there's usually like white folks with blacks for Trump shirt on at the Trump rally.
That one black person was usually put up on the stage.
Buddy with the perm, I know. He's talking about Buddy with the perm. Yeah. But yeah, man. So like, couple things, man. I know it's like this is happening. Like this is very recent. Like so social media is afire with theories and all this other shit. I will say that, like I said, I was skeptical that there were even shots fired because I didn't even hear shots on the MSNBC broadcast when they were showing it, right? So then I see this and I can hear the shots. I'm like, okay, as someone who shoots guns, I'm like, that sounds like a 22 long rifle. I'm wondering how anybody was able to get a 22 long rifle caliber weapon into a Trump rally.
I'll do the video that show. I don't know if this is true. I don't know what this gonna mean. They showed the video was elevated. Like that was buildings around like that. Like that. Elevated on that. Shooting from that angle. Shooting from the elevator. Like he was down there. I'm like, well, the Secret Service had that call. There'd be no way to get up there. If this is true,
there'd
be no way to get up there. That's the thing. Even in a wide open dish like that, that's if not even Secret Service, I'd be like somebody needs to be there, needs to be over there.
Yeah,
be high. I'm sure nobody goes to that. It's that just common sense.
There's so many different things as to why, like, okay, it's gonna be convoluted as hell, but I guess I got to do it. So, like, just like last month, Joe Biden was here in Detroit for the NAACP Freedom Fund dinner, right? I was at that Freedom Fund dinner. Me and my father-in-law, we went to that, and just getting to the venue, of course, you had the protesters outside, but also you had the Detroit police and everything kind of cordoning off, streets and stuff. Then you had them directing traffic in like single file lanes in order to even get into the parking structure where we would be parking my car. Once you got past that, you had Secret Service. They were, they had the dogs out. They had the things like looking up underneath your car, making sure you didn't have any bombs in the car and all this other stuff, right? Then, of course, you got to go through, the metal detectors, and they patting you down and stuff. And so, like, my father-in-law, he's on the walker and stuff, so they checking the walker and shit, making sure he don't have anything in the walker. And this
Detroit,
is right? This is in Detroit.
Michigan, is it
And this is open carry state. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Are they fanatical about this Pennsylvania?
say it again.
Are they fanatical about this Pennsylvania? Like, I always put up magnetoids and check cars. Do we think Pennsylvania, like bump Pennsylvania?
Hey, I don't know. I've never been. I can't even pretend that I've ever been to Pennsylvania. I don't know.
Oh, I have.
Yeah. But the point that I'm making is with the Secret Service, especially for someone of the level of a President Biden, of a former President Trump, this is the level of security that you got to get to even be in the vicinity, let alone just be like close by. So like even if there was like somebody in the stands like right behind him, like if like 9 times out of 10 those folks were being checked even more thoroughly because of their proximity to him. So there was that aspect of it. The second aspect of it, to me, like I said, as someone who shoots guns, sounds like a 22 long rifle, right? Now, for anybody who knows what it's like to shoot a 22 long rifle firearm, it's like shooting a BB gun. Doesn't have much velocity to it. It's not a very large round. We use it for plinking mostly. Like I use it to train. Like I use it like I when I was teaching my daughter how to shoot, the first thing I put in her hand was a 22 long rifle gun because it didn't have much recoil in it and it wasn't a lot of velocity to it. All that to say, you're not using a 22 long rifle weapon in an assassination attempt. Okay? You're not using that. That's just not what you're gonna do. So I say that to say, to some degree, this is why I feel like some of this was staged. I don't have any proof that this was staged. I feel like this was staged.
Yeah. A lot of us.
Yeah.
a lot of it. That's the first. But you can't prove it.
I can't prove it.
But I feel
it feels that way. It feels that way to a lot of folks. I know I'm not the only one.
I can't prove it, but I feel it. It kind of feels like
shout out to Tanya,
because I can tell you right now. Man, listen, there's going to be shirts. This pumping.
Oh my God, he's gonna sell this shit to the cows come home.
I just unfriended it. All this because he put up a thing for that, and I'm like, oh, I'm out.
Yeah.
It's him. He's like flag, shirts. Andy said, "Welcome to this is like Willis Reed."
Absolutely, man. Think about it. Think about how he acted when he finally got his mugshot, right? Like when he got that mugshot and he's insulting black people by saying that the black community is connecting to him because they also have mugshots and shit. I've never felt proud of my mugshot. Every time I've posted my mugshot, but every time I posted, like, this was some bullshit that happened. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't to say like, yeah, man, I'm sure everybody in the black community can relate to this bullshit of me getting arrested. I know a lot of people who've never been arrested and they don't have a mugshot. And to say that like, yo, black people relate to criminality is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. So like the way he's been trying to sell that as, you know, this is, you know, how people are coming to support him. To me, it seems as though, especially considering after the rally that like Biden just had in Detroit yesterday, right? Where you got folks who, and we were going to talk about that too, with, you know, folks who were telling Biden he needs to get out of the race and everything else. But like the defiance of the actual electorate who wants Biden to stay in and how fired up that crowd was for Biden, like it doesn't surprise, like it just, to me right now, this seems like a badly written episode of Scandal, the way Trump tried to use this as a moment to rally his supporters to say that these motherfuckers tried to assassinate me. This is why I'm doing this for you, and they want to they trying to take me out. Like I see that, like I see the play. I see the play only because he's been doing this for so long that it's just hard not to be cynical about it.
Yeah. It's hard not to be like that. On the other side, not feeling like, well, he just
there's a lot of, I've seen that sentiment too online already. Like they just
which let's say you were going to fake your own shooting. Wouldn't that be part of the reason why you would to get the sympathy votes? You could capitalize on it. It just feels.
It doesn't feel it just doesn't. It doesn't feel right, man. Like this, it feels like a bunch of bullshit, man.
Yeah.
And like, and for it to happen, because here's the other part, right? I'm sure, and like, yo, jot this down. I'm saying it. I'm sure at some point in this campaign going forward, Donald Trump is going to get behind a microphone and he's going to tell people that Joe Biden was behind this assassination attempt.
Christmas already did that.
Yeah.
Again, in fact, it was the name of the person. Mike Collins, Georgia.
Yeah.
Immediately said the Republican attorney in Pennsylvania should immediately file charges against Joseph R. Biden, inciting and assassination.
Okay, hold on a second, Randolph. They said you echoing in the.
I know. I can hear you. But
shout out to Jay Full. Shout out to Jay Full.
Thank you. So you can't hear either.
I can hear you, but I'm not getting an echo. Yeah, I'm not getting an echo.
Test. Am I echoing?
I'm not getting an echo. How does he sound, folks?
Chat. How do I sound?
How do we sound?
Because we were. So y'all don't know we were doing this.
Yeah, we were trying to get it right. Okay, so Jay Full is still echoing.
I don't know why.
Okay, let's do this here. Wait a second. Let me try something here real quick. The beauty of live broadcasting. Man.
How's this sound?
I mean, that sounds great.
Am I echoing? Chat. Am I echoing?
It says still an echo, and Randolph, Mr. Spann is okay.
Still an echo for me.
Yeah, they're getting an echo for you.
Because I don't hear any echo.
I don't hear one either. Let me. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna refresh this, and hopefully that might do something. Okay. He said, "No, you're good now."
No, I'm good now.
Says you're good now.
Okay. And you guys can hear me okay.
We in business.
I'm so sorry. We couldn't get this right from the get-go. We tried.
Yeah. Appreciate the chat room for y'all's.
Thank you, chat room.
Oh, baby. Chat room. Hey, bam, 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 bam. I got to get that sound effect. But yeah, bam, 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 bam. Chat room coming through in the clutch, man. Real talk. Now let's get to it. But yeah, man, the shit. You were saying something about someone already saying that Biden was
senator.
It was a senator who said it.
Congressman from Georgia, Mike Butler, I think is what Mike Collins.
Okay, never heard of him.
Well, that's kind of the point.
Kind of like all of the Congress people who are coming out to tell Biden he needs to drop out.
Yeah, and this guy said that Joe Biden sent the orders. Mike Collins.
Okay, so so let's dive into it then. Yeah. If Joe Biden sent the order to have Donald Trump assassinated,
why isn't he dead?
Why isn't he dead? And also, what are you filing charges for? The Supreme Court has already said that the president, if he orders it as an official act, he is immune from prosecution.
Yes, he did.
So if Joe Biden ordered somebody to assassinate Donald Trump as an official act, he couldn't be prosecuted for it. And also, SEAL Team 6 got better shooters.
Yeah. Come on now.
Come on, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's the absurdity of it all. Like,
they had better shooters and they wouldn't have got caught.
They wouldn't have got caught. They wouldn't have had, like, they just took his ass out in the sleep or some shit. Like, if they have, come on, man. Like, they don't have to do this in this way if that's what they feel like they wanted to do. And so, ironically, it's like as soon as that order came down, as soon as the Supreme Court order came down, like that was the first thing folks were mulling over. So like, yo, so Joe Biden could just get a call now, right? Like people were mulling over that on social media openly, right? Now, I know a lot of people right now are at home and they're hearing that Joe Biden, I'm sorry, that Donald Trump was shot at and that whoever was shooting at him missed. And they at home just like this here. Just
What the fuck, y'all? God damn! God damn! God damn! Fuck! Fuck!
it's a lot of motherfuckers upset right now, man.
Right.
A lot of people upset. Like y'all had one good shot at this motherfucker and then y'all and
Right.
it up.
Right. You don't. First of all, if you're going to do that, you bring in professionals who don't miss. So, you know what I mean? You bring in professionals for this type of shit. You don't bring in somebody who you think may or may not. That's stupid. It's a stupid. Yeah. But people are stupid.
Most people, and I think me and you both have been kind of like on the same vein for a long time on social media, man. Like, and I know I've been saying this for a long time. Like, understand that the public at large has been dumbed down, and there has been a concerted effort to dumb down the public. And when you can dumb down the public, you can get away with more because they don't actually know how shit works.
Right.
So when they don't know how shit works and you do something fucked up, they don't even know that they're supposed to be mad about it.
Right. Right.
And this is the gist of like Donald Trump's fucking like coalition. A lot of the people, that's why he loves the poorly educated. He doesn't, like, they do not want folks to know, even when it comes to the history. This is why they're trying to get rid of the books. This is why they don't want your kids to learn, like, you know, what they call in critical race theory and all this other shit. They want a dumbed down populace because a dumbed down populace is a controllable populace. And with shit like this happening, like, yeah, you got a whole bunch of people who have been watching Donald Trump operate like, yeah, this sounds like some bullshit. But to his supporters, this is a rallying cry. Now, I don't know what that means for the independents and the moderates and the undecided. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck there is to be undecided about at this point. Like, I don't understand an undecided voter in 2024. I just don't. Like, I don't get what the fuck there is to be undecided about. Like, the choices couldn't be clearer to me.
Well, Biden did a speech. There's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this.
Yeah. And he's got to draw the contrast.
He's going to he's going to say what he says.
Yeah, he's got to draw the contrast because you got to understand, like, the irony of Donald Trump trying to make himself into a martyr, while at the same time understanding that Donald Trump sent the mob to go kill his vice president.
Exactly.
Like, that is the tenor of what we are like dealing with right now. Is just like, yo, I can't believe, even though I've seen it now. I'm like, at first I didn't even think like they were even gunshots, and I heard another video like, oh, there were actual gunshots. But even in that was like, yo, so all he got was like blood in the ear, and then he didn't even actually get shot. He just got like some okay, but again, not that you want these sorts of things to happen.
Right.
You don't want.
We have to say this.
We don't want these things to happen. But just understanding how this is going to be sold to the public, he's just like, shit. This, all right, so now this is like I've seen enough episodes of Scandal to know like what a good script writing, and this seems like really, some script writing.
This is bad. This is bad. I was telling the Queen, this is bad. It's not. This is not a good. Yeah, it's bad. It opens up the door to a lot of darkness. There's a lot of dark days. It opens up the door to retribution towards any and all Democrat, any and all progressives. It opens up the door to, you can't now criticize this man, because if you criticize him, well, then you're going to lead towards these people coming after him. He's going to run on it. I mean, he could just waltz in. Yeah, he could just waltz into the White House now. There is going to be we'll have to wait and see. But then again, here's another thing: as we talked about, the American public is dumb. They can forget about this shit in a week. The greater public,
Yeah.
It also doesn't negate what's in Project 2025.
Absolutely
We
not.
already know what's in Project 2025, and we're going to keep talking about it. The wild card is, what is the media going to do with this now?
Well, like
Are they going to help him?
let's talk about what's been going on in the media, right? So, as Joe Biden just yesterday perfectly articulated, was like, yo, yeah, I had a bad night. And, or not even just a bad night. I noticed how people responded to him misspeaking when he was referring to Donald Trump, but he was referring to Kamala Harris,
Mm-hmm.
but he said Vice President Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw how people respond to that. And I'm like, yo, y'all have gotten to the point where anytime this man has a like he just misspeaks. Like you talk on podcasts, stuff like that.
I misspeak all the time.
Hey, I just did it a second ago.
It's not a big deal.
It's not a fucking thing.
Here's the thing. I tweeted, how many times did your mom look you dead in the face and called you by a sibling's name, a cousin's name, her husband's name, your daddy's name?
Man, listen.
How many times does that happen?
It happens it happens more often than folks realize, and we just let it go because we're not looking for it.
I mean, you could say that your mother's losing it. Good luck.
Yeah, you can.
Good luck. Have fun.
Just say, yo, hey, if your mama asks you, do I look like Boo Boo the Fool? Just tell her y'all favor. And see what happens.
Good luck.
It's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be good. But the point that I was making was like, yeah, that debate was terrible. I watched it like, oh shit. As I was watching, I'm like, this is not good. But the way that folks responded to that, and the way folks have responded to every action he does since then has been like, as Rod would call it, disasterbation.
Mm-hmm.
Because every time he says or does anything, well, and it's as if people have forgotten that this man has been a lifelong stutterer.
Yeah.
And like that is a speech impediment, and he's dealing with that. He's dealing with it a lot better than he's dealing with it better than most, right? He's had time to practice his techniques to kind of get over the stutter. But the idea that like folks have totally disregarded that when it comes to how he articulates things, and like that's been problematic. But also when you act as though this man can't do the job that he's actively doing right now, like he's in the job right now doing
right.
To act as if he's not capable of doing the job that he's currently holding while doing the fucking job is insulting. But the one thing that I've always said was that when it came to Biden's, or everybody hand wringing about Biden, was that it wasn't even necessarily about Biden. It's always been a proxy for them not necessarily being comfortable with Kamala.
This is all about Kamala Harris.
Yeah,
it's all about Kamala Harris. We don't want Kamala Harris to be president. This is the thing I've never understood is when he picked her to be his vice president, what did you then think was the next thing?
She was next up.
That's the next thing. That's always the next thing. You pick the person who can be the next person. Unless you're a Republican, you pick Mike Pence or Dan Quayle or whoever the fuck. Yeah. They pick. Democrats always pick the next person.
Next up.
It's the next person. The only reason Biden didn't immediately follow Obama was because his son died, and he wasn't up to it.
Yeah,
that's the only reason. He wasn't up to it. And, when it came back around and he was up to it again, he went for it and he won. So he picks Kamala Harris. The plan is he does 2 terms, then she goes in. That's the plan, right?
The plan.
Isn't that what we do?
It's always the plan.
That's what we're thinking.
Because like that's always like, and here's the other part, right? So like you have folks who believe it, like, yo, well, Joe Biden was gonna, like, he was only supposed to be president for 1 term, and then he was supposed to like step aside. And I'm like, yo, man, who actually gets elected to president and makes himself a lame duck the moment they take the oath of office? No one does that.
Right.
No one fucking does it. But y'all expected this man, like, we knew he was old when we elected him.
Right.
No one expected, at least anybody who, I won't say nobody. The people that I listen to and respect, none of those folks expected Joe Biden to say, hey, I'm going to just do this 1 term and then I'm going to bounce. Right. None of them. It was always these idealistic folk on social media, and oftentimes, like I said, this comes back to like the dumbing down of the populace, where you don't even understand like the civics of it and the dynamics at play. But like everything is idealized, everything is idealized, and because everything is idealized, yo, we could just throw these shits at the wall, and it's happening even now amongst people who are in the fucking Congress. You got 20 people on the Democratic side talking about, yeah, well, we could just kind of like have an open convention, and
Is that really that's what we can do? That's what we can do.
Listen, get Gavin Newsom and Gretchen Whitmer, and like, wait. We already got somebody on the ticket.
Yeah, that's how I know they're full of shit.
Yeah.
This is the thing. If you had said to me that, and I said this on our podcast, if you said to me, listen, okay, look, take George Clooney. Okay, look, I don't think that Biden should run again. I think he's too old. He should step down and immediately elevate Vice President Harris, or we all either he elevates her or we all rally behind her and we get this going because she's the future. Let's go with this. If you said that, I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. That sounds good. I mean, I don't agree with it. I would leave it up to Biden, but at least I would think that you were acting in good faith if you said that. But you ain't saying that. You talk about open convention. We have a deep bench to pick from. We don't need a bench. We don't need a bench.
We don't need it, but it's good to have.
Yeah, it's great to have. It's great to have. But in this instance, you don't need the bench. We don't need a bench. We got our sub. we got our sub. Our sub's ready to go. We got our sub. You only go to the bench if something's wrong with your starter and your sub.
Yeah.
That's when you go to the bench for this particular position. We got our sub. I know who I'm subbing. Like I coached my daughter's basketball team 2 years in a row. I knew who I was subbing in and subbing out every quarter.
Every time.
Every quarter. I know who I'm subbing. I know who I'm starting and I know who I'm subbing in. I'm knowing I'm subbing them out. Yeah. Every time. If something happens to my sub and my starter, now I'm scrambling. I'm looking at the bench. I gotta get this bench. I gotta see who got it. Yeah, now I'm looking at the bench.
Yeah, but we already have that's been the thing that's been the most insulting about the cries to get Joe Biden to step aside. It's like, wait a minute, okay, yeah, he had a bad night, but then everything after that, like, yo, okay, so he misspoke during this press conference, and he said Vice President Trump. You knew who the fuck he was talking about. It wasn't as if people didn't understand who he meant. But then, like, to blow that up in the way that, like, the media has been blowing that up, and to see people
Trump's first statement.
Well, not only that, like, to see people that I like.
No, I got it.
Like that I like, yo, man, but I don't know, man. I'm like, yo, bro, what are y'all talking about? Wait a second, wait. Are you falling for this shit too?
Yes, they are. So what you think they're gonna say when they hear this? Former President Trump issues his first statement on Truth Social. I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong and that I heard a whizzing sound. Shots and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin.
Oh my God.
He wasn't shot with a bullet.
Oh my God. Like,
he didn't get hit. He didn't get hit by the bullet.
Again, like this, like
the lies have already started.
We gonna see this picture all over social media. This motherfucker like doing this shit.
Yeah.
And the other part was like how it was kind of crazy. I think somebody posted it on Threads earlier, but they were talking about how in the moment where Secret Service was actually trying to shuffle his ass off the stage, he told them to wait just so he could do his little thrust in the air and say fight and all this other shit. And sure enough, that picture, I'm seeing that picture all over social media right now. By not even just like, people that you would think would be, Trump supporters, but like just like, other folks like, man, I'm gonna see this picture. I'm gonna see that they're gonna edit the fuck out of this shit. And it's gonna be it's gonna be like that mugshot. It's gonna be on t-shirts and everything.
This is not good, man. This is some bad shit, dog.
And then there's the other part, the flip side of this is that like now you're gonna have people who normally hate Donald Trump have to come out and say, well, we can't have this happen. This is such a tragedy. We have to, this is not who America is, and we don't want this to, and they gotta say that, right? They like, especially those who are in elected positions, they gotta say that. But then you're gonna have some folks in our position who are just like, I don't want nothing bad to happen to them. And secretly, they like, I mean, shit, I'm just sad they missed. And it's a lot of motherfuckers like that right now.
Yep.
There's a lot of them like that. And listen, D.O. Hughley's on Threads right now. What is sad is that this is the very America that they seem to want.
It is.
We finna see that image of Trump with blood in his face and his fist in the air every day for the rest of the year. Like, yeah, that's
For
what's
the
going
rest of the time. It's
yeah,
gonna
that's
be
what
on. It's gonna be on. It's gonna be on t-shirts. It's gonna be on posters. It's gonna be on the side of a building. Watch.
Democrats are condemning violence. Republicans are attacking Democrats. The two parties are different. Yeah, this is true. This is true. Let's see. Biden said, wait, hold on, let's see. We got some comments here. Jay Fool is in the chat room. He says, Biden said they are pausing all ads. This motherfucker about to get a week to go on offense unchallenged. Yeah, I feel like that's a mistake for Biden to do, especially considering some of the momentum that he was just about to get. This is up again. I hate being this fucking cynical.
Isn't it odd how it happens now?
I hate what the world is doing to me because right after Biden has that electrical ass rally here in Detroit, where he gets his footing, and like he's forceful in his speech. He's not sounding all wispy. He's not sounding like he's coming off of a fucking cold. He has command of what he's saying, and like suddenly Donald Trump gets shot at, and Biden pulls all of his ads. Like, no, the threat is still real for those of us who would be under threat of a Donald Trump presidency.
Yep.
And we gotta put
the threat is just ratcheted up, by the way.
Yeah, we gotta keep our foot on the fucking gas. So if they're really talking about pausing ads, man, that's, to me, that seems like a fucking mistake. Because I'm like, ain't no way in hell, bro. Like you've already got people within the party telling Biden to step aside as if he can't do the fucking job that he's already doing. And so to concede this level of concede the stage, so to speak, to Donald Trump and what I believe and what I think millions of people believe to be a contrived event. I don't know. And like I said, I don't have any proof that this is contrived. It just feels that way. It feels that way.
It feels
because what we know, what and who we known Trump to be for so long. That's why it feels that way.
Right.
I could be wrong. I'm not even opposed to like the idea. I would hope that I am wrong.
Right.
I would hope that I'm wrong.
But it feels.
But considering who we dealing with,
yeah, it certainly feels that way. It's not above him nor his party to do some shit like this.
Absolutely not.
That's the thing. If it was a Democrat, you'd be like, "It's not possible." But this shit, you're like, "It's not above. It's not above it."
It feels like this motherfucker is trying to turn an episode of The Apprentice into Scandal.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
How crazy you have to believe that Joe Biden would order the death of Donald Trump. You know how crazy that you'd have to be? Again, but if you told me that Donald Trump ordered the death of Joe Biden, you'd be like,
I totally believe it.
I can see that.
I totally fucking believe it. Only because, again, Donald Trump right now is running on retribution and revenge.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me somebody took a shot at Donald Trump, didn't kill him, and he's not going to continue to run off retribution and revenge?
Yeah.
Fuck out of here, bro. Fuck out of here. Like, I don't believe it, man. Let's see what Jay Fool says something else. He says, it's not like they've been caught staging events multiple. I mean, shit, even the whole think about how often Donald Trump has put people in harm's way. Not even counting January 6th. But think about when that motherfucker had COVID during the pandemic and went to that debate and all of his people was with him and none of their asses was wearing masks.
Mm-hmm. And how many of them got sick?
How many of them? Shit. Think about
how many died.
Herman Cain paid the ultimate price for fucking with Donald Trump.
Fucking with Trump.
Fucking with price, bro. This is what he does. He puts people in harm's fucking way, even his Secret Service agents. Because if somebody's busting caps at us, yo, man, hey, hold on a minute. Let me get this. Hey, fight. Somebody's shooting at you, motherfucker. You didn't know if they were legitimately shooting at you. You don't know if the shooter's down yet.
Right.
But you're trying to get this fucking photo out.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here, man. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's not. Remember the president of the Heritage Foundation just said a couple weeks ago that we're in the beginning of another revolution.
And it will be bloodless if the left allows it.
Yes,
so You just said it.
Again, so if you wanted to fight somebody, wouldn't this be a way that you would kind of open up the door to that?
And the only ones who've even been talking that way have been those on the right.
Right, right. They
The
talking a lot of good shit, ain't they?
They are the only ones who talk that way. Now, I will concede this. I am one of those folks who like, and I'm left leaning, but I am also a Second Amendment proponent. I've never been of the idea that like, yo, I should get rid of my guns because I should get rid of them.
Well, there's responsible gun ownership. I come out of a gun family. I don't have a gun now. I come out. My brother has a couple. I come out of a gun.
Me too.
Because my father was a military police officer. I've talked about on the podcast many times.
Yeah.
He has a lot of guns in the house. We learned how to use guns. We learned how to shoot. Learned how to care for guns, clean, load, shoot, clean everything. Take gun apart, put it back together. We learned all about that.
Yeah.
But I don't want half the population. I don't want a lot. My father says it best. My he went to, when he was working with pardons and paroles, he had to get a concealed carry. Went to the class. He was like, I wouldn't trust anybody in that class to carry a gun. I don't trust the teacher to carry a gun. To teach the class, I don't trust him carrying a gun concealed.
Yeah.
I don't trust none of these people. Don't trust anybody in a concealed class. Don't trust anybody do not trust any of them. They're not. They don't know what they're doing.
That's
they're not thinking about the shit. They're out of their fucking minds.
Like here in Michigan, that's actually one of my criticisms of like how people now are getting licensed to carry firearms, only because I know that there are some unscrupulous folk who are, NRA certified instructors. Again, NRA, but they're NRA certified instructors, and they won't even give you a class. They will just take your money and give you a certificate.
Right.
And you now take the certificate to the police department and apply for your concealed carry license and everything. And like the price even of the class, I remember when I was going through the process to get my license and everything, I remember the class being about $200 for the class. Then it was like $115 for the application fee for the
CCL?
Yeah, for the CPL. Just for the application fee.
Yeah.
And then I was initially denied my license. And the reason why I was denied my license was because
black skin?
No, it wasn't. It could have been.
Oh.
In Wayne County, Michigan.
I saw your name, Antoine. That doesn't sound Anglo.
It's a French name, but no. So they denied me my license the first time. They sent me a denial, and the reason, like in Wayne County, Michigan, they were denying anybody who had been arrested for anything. So, if you really wanted the license, you had to go before the Wayne County Gun Board, and you had to explain to the Wayne County Gun Board what happened during your arrest. What happened during that case? How was that case adjudicated? And at the time, I had been arrested for soliciting without a permit.
What were you trying to sell?
I wasn't selling. I don't know if I've ever told this. I might have told this story on the pod before, but I was. This was around the time I was looking for work, and it was a marketing position, and it just so happened to be door-to-door sales. And I went on a day of observation with the company. Like they just take you out and you walk with a guy. You see the job being done.
Yeah, right.
Like basically to see if this is something that you want to do. Mm-hmm. And because I had been on a previous day of observation, I was like, once I figured out I'm like, oh fuck, this another one of these. So I wasn't selling nothing. I was just with a guy who was like trying to sell some shit. And someone called the police and said, there's a couple guys in the neighborhood soliciting or whatever. And, the police showed up and gave me and the guy a ticket because this guy didn't have his.
And what was the product?
Oh my God. It was Detroit Pistons tickets.
Oh God.
It was Detroit Pistons tickets, which is also why I'm so
hard. Where'd y'all get the tickets? That sounds illegal right there. Where'd you get the tickets?
Here's the other part though, right? This is why I'm so hard on Detroit Pistons fans, because we couldn't sell those tickets to save our fucking lives. They like Pistons fans are very much front runners, man. Real talk. They when the Pistons are good, everybody acts like they've been a Pistons fan all their life. We couldn't sell those Pistons tickets to save our fucking lives, but he was selling Pistons tickets and like oil changes at like a local oil change shop somewhere. So it was that, but he didn't have a proper permit, and so the police they gave us a ticket for soliciting without a permit. So of course, again, I am a prospect. I'm not an employee. I'm not selling nothing. I'm not knocking on no doors. I ain't even talking to these people. Go back to the office, and I said, well, because of what happened, it wasn't because of what happened. I wasn't going to take the job anyway. They were like, apologies for for what happened. He should have had, we should have given them the proper, documentation and everything else. We understand if you don't want to take the position, we will take care of this ticket for you. All right, cool. Fast forward a year later, and I get pulled over by the state police. I'm working as a utility worker, a utility shutoff worker. I'm cutting people's lights and gas and shit off. And I get pulled over by the state police. I don't have a seatbelt on because I had my tool belt on and it just was cumbersome.
Yeah.
And I get pulled over, and it's like, yeah, there's a warrant for your arrest in Warren, Michigan, for soliciting without a problem. Like, wait, a what? Wait, what? A warrant?
You turned in that brother that was in front of the judge. I didn't know I didn't have a license.
Listen, I'm in the jail in my work uniform with the crackheads and then the dope dealers and shit. They're like, hey man, I was stealing lights, man. You think do you think they gonna come and motherfucker, I ain't supposed to be here, man. What are you talking about? But that arrest stopped me from getting my license at the time. So when I had to explain to the police, what happened with that case. And then they was like, all right, so that you wasn't selling, you wasn't trying to buy no pussy or nothing? That's exactly what he asked me. He's like, you weren't trying to buy no pussy? I was like, absolutely not. I don't have to do that. But
have to and want to do different things.
Have to and want is different. I didn't have to, and I wasn't in a position to really want to do that neither. But at the same time, they're not knocking anybody who does. I'll just say that. If that's how you get down, that's how you get down. But nah, man. So they gave me the license. But I say all that to say the things that I had to go through in order to get my license. And like now, when I see people getting their licenses to carry firearms, they're because of some of the actions of Republicans, they're trying to make it so easy for you to get access to these deadly weapons, right? I own an AR-15. I shoot my AR-15. I have fun shooting my AR-15. I would not put an AR-15 in everybody's hands. I
don't think anybody in the population needs to have an AR-15. You don't need to have any type of gun that can be converted into force.
Well, I'll say this.
There's no reason for it. I think if we all had 6-shot cylinder guns, I might go with that.
I'll say this.
It's too late now. The genie's out of the bottle.
The genie's out of the bottle, and I will say this: those who do not like my politics also carry AR-15s.
That's why I say the genie's out of the bottle. I don't think anybody should be allowed to carry an AR-15.
There's
no reason to carry an AR-15. So, but if you know they're carrying AR-15s, you have to carry an AR-15.
It's almost one of those things where
it's daytime.
Like nuclear
weapons. If they're carrying it, then I have to carry it. But I don't think anybody's carrying. There's no reason to have an AR-15.
And it's not like I'm rolling around with the AR-15 every day. My AR-15 is 9 times out of 10 is at the house.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. There's no reason for any of us to have an AR-15. Anything that anybody tells you about it is, I have it for hunting. Really, you're hunting with an AR-15?
I've never hunted with my AR-15.
It's fun. Ain't nobody disputing that it's fun.
Here's the thing.
What are you practicing for? Tell me what you're practicing for.
Even at work, right? So I work with a bunch of white guys. It's a blue collar job. Some of those guys are like into hunting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'll never forget one year. This is when I've been a pipe fitter now for about 15 years now, but I'll never forget when I was new, and like a bunch of those guys, they would get together and they would go up to northern Michigan. One of the guys has a cabin up there, and he said, yo, Spann, you want to come, to the cabin this Thanksgiving weekend or whatever? I'm like, no. To the cabins? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, man, we all going to, we're all going up north or whatever. And I said, well, who you invite? Who all gonna be there? It was who all gonna be there, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, well, it's gonna be me, it's gonna be this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. I'm like, so what about the brothers? I ain't heard you name not one brother yet. He was like, well, we asked, such and such, but he said no. And I was like, well, if he ain't gonna be there, I damn sure ain't gonna be there.
Yeah, that sounds like the beginning of Surviving the Game with Ice T.
I said, have you ever seen the movie Surviving the Game? And he said, nah, what's that about? I said, it's about a bunch of white people who are hunting a black dude in the woods. I am not going with you motherfuckers.
Yeah, that sounds like the beginning of Surviving the Game. Hey, man, you want to go spend a weekend with us? We're gonna go.
A bunch of white cats, man. I'm like,
hunting weekend. We just go up there. We just have some drinks.
Some of y'all are cool as shit. But some of y'all I got questions about. And then like real talk, some of these motherfuckers actually had the audacity to have political stickers and shit on their work trucks. And I'm like, how the fuck do you feel comfortable enough to do that at work? I got a talking to for having a not my president shirt on.
Yeah.
One time.
Yeah, anybody who has the political sticker on their truck is always going to be the party that you don't want to be associated with. It's never going to be. It's always going to be that party. You know what I mean?
It's always
they're the ones who put the stickers on their shit. Don't nobody on this side put stickers on anything. That's not something we do. We don't put
stickers on my personal ride.
We might put a choose love sign up or some shit like that. You see that shit a lot, or love is love, or choose love, or all are welcome. You see that shit a lot.
Hold on. So Jay, the gun case is how I found the show. Oh, okay. That wasn't the gun case. That wasn't that incident though. That wasn't that incident. That was something different. I know what you're talking about though. When I got arrested in Chicago, I've been arrested twice, y'all. I've been
arrested.
I don't know, man. Just being black in America, I guess. Shit. No, you never heard that story?
No.
Oh shit. Well, let me tell you. So, one year I went to Chicago, and this was like early in my my gun carrying days and shit. But I was trying to be very much versed in what the laws were and everything else. So, I was in Chicago for my grandmother's birthday. I always go to Chicago. Even my grandmother's passed on, but I still go to Chicago during her for her birthday. And that's just sort of what I do now. And I took my gun with me, but I kept my gun in my luggage, right? Because I knew in Chicago that I took a handgun. I knew in Chicago that there was a law in Chicago where you could not have a handgun, right? Couldn't carry a handgun at all. Chicago was just like this law came down after the shooting of Ben Wilson. For those of you who are not familiar, Ben Wilson was a basketball star out of Simeon High School in Chicago. He was gunned down outside of the school. His mother advocated for the banning of guns in the city, and they passed a handgun ban in the city of Chicago. Okay, so I knew not to carry my pistol. Right, I just kept it like. Traveling, I wanted to, as I was traveling, hey, listen, I'm in Chicago, let me put this up. But when I get back home, I want to have something with me because this is just how I roll when I'm at home, right? So one day, buddy of mine, I was getting ready to go to go just do some touristy shit. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go we're gonna go to downtown Chicago. We're gonna do some touristy shit. We're gonna take pictures downtown. We're gonna go to the Buckingham Fountain. We're gonna go to the Willis Tower. We're gonna go to the Navy Pier and all this other stuff. And we're gonna just kick it. And I get pulled over by the cops. 6 cops pull me over. And they said they pulled me over because I failed to signal while changing lanes.
Of course. Of
6
course.
of them.
No, you failed. You failed to remember that you were driving while you were black. So
I was driving.
That's why I got pulled over.
I was driving while black. But also, what they did not understand was that I also knew is that because I was licensed to carry a concealed weapon, if you run the plates on my car, it alerts any police agency in the nation that this person is licensed to carry a concealed weapon. This is what they did. So they were assuming that I would have the gun in the car with me. The gun was not in the car with me. It was at my grandmother's house.
You're going to learn today.
Yeah, it was in my grandmother's house. So they pulled me over. They're looking for the gun. Gun's not in the car, but they did find an extra magazine in my car. So they asked me, well, what's this? I said, well, shit, it goes to my gun. Well, where's the gun? It's at my grandma's house. Where's your grandma's house? So I tell her where my grandma's house is. I'm thinking at the time that I'm just being a cooperative motherfucker. I'm just being cooperative. I'm just trying to like, yo, man, I'm really just trying to get to my, to my homie so we can go downtown. We can, kick it like we said we was going to do. These motherfuckers sent squad cars to my grandmother's house. And, Granny not knowing that she could have told them they couldn't come in and all this other stuff. She didn't know that. She allows them to come in. They go to my luggage. They get the gun. And I got arrested once they found the gun at my grandmother's house.
Mm-hmm.
So what ended up happening was they lied to the judge and told the judge that they found the gun and an additional magazine in the car with me when they arrested me. So because they lied, that's like, at first I was actually considering just like, let's plead into the shit so I can get it over with so I can get back home, because I was like, yo, man, I can't be here tomorrow. I got to go to work. So,
you ain't gonna fuck up this check.
Like, I gotta go to work. Like, this is some bullshit, but I gotta get to work tomorrow. Like, so if we can get this shit adjudicated real quick so I can get back to the job, like, cool. But I gotta get back to work. And when I saw that the prosecuting attorney just flat out said they found all of that shit in the car, like, oh, and it was so funny to me later. I could laugh about the shit now. I yelled out and I'm like, oh, that's some bullshit. Not guilty, y'all. That's some bullshit. Not guilty. And so I ended up having to fight that. Like I had to like go back and forth to Chicago, between Detroit and Chicago for a few months. Shout out to my mentor, man, Mr. Jones. He was a teacher of mine in my high school in Chicago. He actually got me my lawyer for that case, and I got that case dismissed. And I'm forever grateful to Mr. Jones for finding that attorney for me. But yeah, man, I got that case got thrown out. They didn't give me my gun back though. I would have had to sue the city of Chicago.
You ain't gonna get everything.
Well, I didn't. As a matter of fact, I just said, well, fuck it. It would cost me less to just go buy another gun than to be trying to sue the city of Chicago. So I just ended up buying another gun. But yeah, that's how Jay Full found the show. That's how Jay Full found the show.
That's the gun story.
Yeah, that's the one that he knows. But yeah, man. So like, anytime I would the second time when I had to go get my license renewed, that case came up. They denied me again, and I had to go before the gun board, and I had to tell them. And the cop was like, "How the hell did you get this thrown out?" And I had to tell them, "Yo, people got caught lying. They got caught lying. They did not find that gun in that car with me. They went before the judge and said that they found that gun in the car. They did not." So, yeah, man, it was it's some bullshit. And like around that time, though, I will say this: around that time was when I actually joined the NRA. It was around that time because I was like, "Yo, this was some bullshit." The
NRA is not for us.
It's not. And I like what ended up turning me away from the NRA was Philando Castile. Yeah.
That tells you right there that they're not for us.
When Philando Castile happened, that's when I renounced my membership in the NRA. And ironically, like anytime I'm always amazed. I'm like, how the fuck? Because I've moved since then. And I'm like, and they will still send me shit in the mail. I'm like, how the fuck do y'all even have my address? Like, I gotta figure out how to, like, if you could figure out how to erase your shit online, do it, because these motherfuckers will find you.
Right.
They will find you. They will mail you shit, and the NRA is always begging for money. They always begging. That's anytime they ever sent me anything in the mail, it was just asking for money. It was a fundraising event.
Well, they've never been for us. Never been for us, and not for us. If anything, they exist to be a weapon of control against us.
Absolutely.
If I say that Absolutely. Right.
Now, I did join the National Association of African American Gun Owners.
Now they're for us.
I did join them. Join them. But like even that was because there's a different process in joining them than it is the NRA. The NRA just wants you to send them some money.
Yeah.
And send them some money. They'll send you a card. You a member.
Yeah.
NAGA, something totally different. Like, hey, you got to be a part of this gun club, and you got to be a part of this, and you got to make sure you come to these meetings.
Yeah. NRA's their headquarters is not that far from where I live now, and I see them driving out that way. Big ass building, dog.
Hey,
big ass buildings ain't cheap around these parts, man.
you gotta no longer contributing to that shit, man.
Yeah, it's not cheap around these parts.
Because
it's in a prime location too, in one of the more expensive parts of Northern Virginia, in Tyson's Corner. That's money over there.
Now, aren't they trying to move their their national headquarters from New York?
I wouldn't doubt it if they were.
Because I believe they were trying to move from New York because they something happened. I forget exactly what. Something happened and they were trying to move from New York, and I want to say they were trying to either move to Texas or Florida. One of those two Republican-led states. But like they've been trying to get out of New York for a minute because they got into some trouble recently. And I think it has something to do with the Wayne LaPierre was like using the NRA funds like for some personal shit. Basically grifting. Doing the grift. Like,
he's a huge grifter.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like even with the like say for instance with like the thing that got me hemmed up in Chicago, there was a case in Chicago by there was this guy named Otis McDonald. And Otis McDonald was his house was getting broken into in Chicago, and he defended his house with a handgun. Right? But the city of Chicago, because there's a handgun ban, they hemmed up Otis McDonald. And so the NRA used Otis McDonald in order to get Chicago's handgun ban deemed unconstitutional. Because, and this is something I actually do agree with. Like, if I'm not comfortable dealing with the rifle, I should be able to use something in my home to defend my home. I shouldn't be relegated to just using a shotgun or a long rifle or something like that. I should be able to, not to say that you should be permitted to just walk around the streets of Chicago or anywhere else with your gun. But if I'm at home and I'm trying to defend my home, to hem me up on like just trying to defend the house, you shouldn't get at me because, I did it with a pistol as opposed to a rifle. That I do agree with. However, oftentimes folks, a lot of times on the right, they will conflate, we defended the rights of this black man. No, you just decide at this particular moment, what you did was you opened it up to where they can actually sell, handguns in Chicago.
Right.
Let's keep it a buck. Y'all wasn't doing it for the altruistic reasons of we want to protect black people. No, you wanted to sell guns. That's what y'all did it for. I went back and forth with Coley on the War about that on Twitter a few years ago.
Is he still in the game?
He's not with the NRA anymore, but he still does his shit. And one of the things about him, and I said like, when the NRA went bankrupt, because they had to file bankruptcy, I believe, and they had an NRA, TV, YouTube channel and the whole shit. He had a show with them and everything else.
I remember.
Yeah. And like I had a back and forth with, but one of the things, of course, when it comes to social media, like, it's like when you're dealing with people who have a larger following. I'm not one of those folks who like just believes that like, it's like, because I've had some back and forth with a few folk. What's that girl's name? Azalea Banks is another one. But,
she's but like, don't do that.
Yeah, I'm just saying I've had some back and forths, but oftentimes what ends up happening is you don't end up talking with them. You end up talking with their followers, and their followers end up just like, trying to like drown you out as opposed to not necessarily engaging with the substance of what you're saying. And so when I was talking about why, the Otis McDonald thing was going on, he's like, he couldn't understand. Wait, it's not even that. It's not that he couldn't understand. I think he was it was a willful misunderstanding with Coley on the War as to why the NRA was even approaching the Chicago gun ban, because it wasn't about gun safety. It wasn't, because if you think about how Republicans talk about Chicago at large when it comes to guns, oftentimes is how bad Chicago is about crime.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So wait, you're concerned about Chicago's crime, but you also want Chicago to have more guns. Make that make sense. In the hands of folks who are not trained to use them and oftentimes aren't licensed to have them, you want to be able to sell more guns. And I had a little back and forth with Coley on the wire about that. He's disingenuous as shit. And
what is he doing now?
He does his YouTube channel, but it's just not sponsored by the NRA anymore. And he's apparently he's an attorney, but I find him very disingenuous. And as someone who used to watch his channel as a gun, as someone who likes guns, I used to watch his channel. I can't fuck with that guy no more. Just can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Let's see. We got some news, man. What do you think? Let me ask you this here.
Mm-hmm.
Waka Flocka had a show recently where where he was kicking out Joe Biden supporters, man. What are your thoughts on that? Because I'm of the belief, I'm like, yo, I couldn't believe anybody was still going to a Waka Flocka show in 2020.
That's the first thing. What is he doing that you want to go see?
Yeah.
But if you're paying money, I don't know if that's legal for him to do that. That's a he doesn't own the venue. He's performing at the venue. He doesn't own the venue. Mm-hmm. That's a venue call. Now, venue can refuse service to anyone for any reason. They don't have to give you a reason. That's fine. But for him to say that, how do you enforce that? Does he have a bunch of stormtroopers that are going to walk through and kick people out?
I don't know. I believe
that just a suggestion he was making.
I believe there was video to the shit. I'm gonna read this story real quick here. This comes out of Billboard. It says Waka Flocka Flame is riding with Donald Trump this presidential election while performing in Utah. Earlier this week, the No Hands rapper instructed supporters of President Joe Biden to leave his concert. All Joe Biden voters, get out of my concert, he said while on stage. We going to see y'all in the bingo game. We're going to party right now for motherfucking President T24.
Again, you can't.
T24. He's not president.
That's still a venue call. That's not an artist call. The artist doesn't get to choose that. That's a venue call. You can ask for an unruly. You can ask security to remove an unruly.
Yeah.
Being unruly or something like that as the artist. They will accommodate you, but they don't even have to do that. I don't think if they don't want to, unless the person's just talking shit. The venue has to then decide to say, okay, we can get you the fuck out of here.
I don't know if anybody actually left. I really don't. I know we saw a video of him talking this shit. I don't know if anybody actually left the show, and if they did leave, they probably left of their own volition because they were like, "Oh, yes. That's what's wrong."
So now the thing is, the thing that I would say is, okay, so let's say you are, for whatever reason, you're a Waka Flocka fan. Let's just okay, let's just say that. However, you're also a sensible voter. Let's just say that. You still gonna go give your money to Waka Flocka?
Again, who the fuck is going to
Who's going? Exactly. Who's going?
Who's going?
But if you are, you're one of the few, the proud, the many, the few.
No, it's chosen, strange, right? It's strange, right? Because like take for instance here in here in Detroit, like when Trump was here recently and they had the black church that Trump went to.
The black church that was full of white folks?
White folks, right?
That's your place. You know about that church.
I do know about that church.
Yeah.
That church is right around the corner from my workplace.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell y'all about that church. I thought that church was closed.
That's what I've heard. They have like a really small congregation.
Listen to me and listen to me clearly.
It's like friends and family.
Clearly. So that church actually used to at one point to have a really large congregation. So much so that that church has a campus with about 4 buildings, right? Many of those buildings are now closed, shuttered, There are 18 wheelers sitting in the parking lot that probably shouldn't even be there, right? So I'm like, when I found out what church it was, I was like, wait, what? I thought that place was closed down. Did not know that there was a new pastor, a new church who had taken over the building, not the buildings, but the building that the Trump rally was held at. And it's on the west side of Detroit. It's not, it's not, I'm going to just say this. It's a middle class to, what's the best way to say this? There's a lot of people there who are on the way up. I'll say that. They're on the way up because you can't get no more, like, lower than where they are right now. Okay? I'll say that. But the church itself, I thought was closed. The fact that he had that event there with a bunch of white Trump supporters, and then like there were the black people who were there, were like there was some Detroit area rappers, people like Sada Baby, stuff like that. Now I've listened to a couple Sada Baby songs. I might like one or two, but he's not my shit. Right? He's not for me. I get that. I'm an older nigga now. I get hey. Yo, Spann, you a middle aged now, nigga. Like that, your time is not what these kids is on. But when I heard a motherfucker like Sada Baby say that Donald Trump was the first person who made him feel like voting was something that he needed to do, I was like, nigga, are you out of your fucking mind?
Oh my God.
Are you out of your fucking mind? And like the idea that like these rappers, like they keep, like if you notice, it's like these what's the, I'm always searching for the proper word, but it's these ancillary niggas. I go on ancillary. It's these ancillary niggas. It's like these people who are not necessarily the people that everybody is on, but people kind of know a little bit about who they is.
A little bit.
You know what I'm saying? Like when he went to the Bronx, right? I had never heard those rappers. He had a couple rappers in the Bronx when he did that. He did something in New York.
Yeah, they probably big there.
Never heard of them niggas. Never heard of them. There are gonna be plenty of people who be like, "Who the fuck is Sada Baby? I never heard of this nigga." Now some Detroit people may know who Sada Baby is, but the public at large, like, it's gonna be a lot. Never heard of this nigga. Like there's a contingent of like the rappers who are gravitating towards Trump. Not your big name rappers. You're not hearing Nas coming out on behalf of Trump. You're not hearing Jeezy coming out on behalf of Trump. You're not hearing Jay-Z come out on behalf of Trump.
Yeah, but noted rapper and Instagram and social media personality Amber Rose. Noted rapper Amber Rose.
Amber Rose.
Noted rapper.
They've been promoting her as a rapper. I've never heard of Amber Rose bar in my life. In my life.
Just because you've never heard it now, don't mean that it's not happening.
She's been attached to rappers. She's been attached to rappers.
Briefly. She's been attached to rappers briefly.
I mean, she was married to Wiz Khalifa.
Well, yeah.
And she had Wiz Khalifa's baby. She was attached to Kanye West. And you know, we seen what happened to brother, you know, to Kanye, to much to my chagrin, because I love Kanye's early shit, but I find it hard to listen to it now, considering, you know, this is just a personal thing. I find it hard to listen to the shit considering what's going on now. But yeah, like it's really interesting to me how it's always like these people who are like ancillary. It's these ancillary people who are like attaching themselves to Trump. Like what was that? What's that girl's name? It's a little white rapper or influencer or something like that. I saw a video of her and they were like, yeah, she's into Trump just like Amber Rose is, and I'm like, who the fuck is that? I don't know.
Who are these people? Yeah.
Who are these people?
Who the fuck is this? It's funny. They talk shit about Hollywood and media and stuff like that, but they want to be part of it desperately.
So bad.
You know, the
so
culture.
Bad.
They want to be part of the culture desperately.
Better yet, this is how I look at like a lot of the times. It's like,
who are these niggas? We need to say
Oh,
who are they?
That's a gift I love.
I don't know these niggas, man. I don't know these niggas, but they are coming out for Trump in droves. He said, I think she got a kid with 21 Savage or one of the, no, it's Wiz Khalifa. Yeah, Wiz Khalifa's her baby daddy, man. She was married to Wiz Khalifa. She had a baby with Wiz Khalifa. But outside of that, Amber Rose has been known for nothing but the slut walk and being attached to Kanye West.
Exactly.
That is what we know Amber Rose for. Now, whether or not Amber, like, I don't know anybody who's going to Amber Rose. Unfortunately, I would hope that nobody is going to Amber Rose for their political advice, in much the same way that I would hope that nobody's going to Sexy Red for their political advice, right? But these are the people that they put in front of us, and then like, yo, I'm getting so much support in the black community. The blacks, they love me. They left me. I got shot today. 50 Cent called me. He said, sir, I was shot 9 times. I had blood in my eye. I couldn't see anything. And then I saw you get shot today, and I said, sir, I once had blood in my eyes too. And I saw you raise your fist, and I had hope in America. 50 Cent, he called me today. You know, because in hip hop you get shot. Like, come on, man. This is what we get, man. This is
where we're at, man.
What we get, man. Like, yo, the season finale of America is like fucking. This is crazy. We are living in the season finale of America.
Are the credits rolling yet? That's the thing. Are the credits rolling?
Yo, I hope not. I would hope not. I got
with the still where they do the still shot with the credit name underneath it, and then the name rolls underneath that.
I would hope that
this one here.
Doom, 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 down. No, real talk, man. I would hope that this isn't the season finale of Experiment.
It feels like it.
It feels like it, but I would hope it isn't, man. My daughter is 21. I hope there's a country.
I got a 16-year-old, man.
I would hope, and for your daughter, I would hope that there is a country left for them that we could leave for them, that respects their autonomy, that respects their rights, and history and stuff. Like, hey, but we got to fight for it. That's the only thing I always tell people. Like, even now, man, when they was talking that shit about Biden and everything else, I take it now as a personal. If I got anybody around me, I had a friend. I was talking with a friend of mine a couple weeks ago, and she's not politically like inclined. And she was like, yo, but I listen to your podcast all the time. And I'm like, yo, so you listen to my podcast and you already know where I stand. And I would hope that some of the things that I would express on the podcast sinks in, because everything I say on the podcast, I believe in. Unfortunately, so many people get on these platforms talking shit that they do not believe. And when it comes to our responsibility, especially like as folks who get on mics and talk this shit, like I take this shit much more. I take this shit seriously. I really do. Like I don't want to get on this microphone and say anything that I don't believe in or anything else. We joke every now and again, and you could tell every now when it's satire and we joking. But real talk, when it comes to the brass tacks, far too many folks are only in the social media space, or in the podcast space, or in the YouTube space because it gives them money, because it gives them dollars. One of the things I love about Three Guys On, one of the things I love about when Chris was doing the insanity check, one of the things I love about Rod with the Black Guy Who Tips is that I know that they actually believe in what the fuck they saying when they get on these microphones. And I think it's incumbent upon us when we do get on these mics to, when we're talking about substantive issues, that we actually give the folks the correct information, the right information, and not just be like on some, I'm gonna just say this shit because I'm gonna get paid. And that's just what it boils down to me. Like, even when it comes to the podcasting space, there's so many people who only podcasting because they think it's a way to get paid. And I've never been about. I mean, I would love to monetize.
Yeah,
this
we
shit.
want to get paid.
We want to get paid.
But,
like, I would love to not go into a nasty basement and do a fuel line for gas service and everything. I would love for y'all to like free me from going to the nasty basements. I would love for that. But in the meantime, I'm not gonna bullshit y'all. And I do appreciate like folks like yourself, folks like everybody over at Three Guys On, folks like the Black Guy Who Tips, folks like everybody who like, I really do listen, like Karen Hunter. Like, I've been a Karen Hunter fan for a long, and then I looked up and Rod was on Karen Hunter. I was like, I'll be goddamn. Right?
Yeah, man.
I appreciate those who tell the people the truth, and that's what I appreciate about this space. But yeah, man, like I just want us to be able to like to leave a country for our children, especially like I said, before we even started the show, I did the family reunion thing. It was important to me for my younger family members to know who their people were, but also it ain't gonna matter if they don't know who their people were because they can't get to their people because they in a goddamn concentration camp.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, nah, real talk. Like, we have a responsibility on these microphones, and I hope we take these things seriously. That's really what I want to leave folks with tonight.
I mean, I agree, and I'm always believe that trying to use a platform to elevate and push things forward. People want to go with it. You can only hope that they do. You can only hope that they do. You hope that they're receptive to the things that we have to say, and you hope that the people who are out there talking are righteous, are just righteous with what they're saying.
That's it.
You know.
That's it. Believe in what you're talking about, man. Like, don't be out here like blowing smoke up people's ass. And I know, like, there's a check in blowing smoke up people's asses. I get it. People do it all day.
Big check. There's a big check in that.
There's a big check in it.
Yeah,
and if I was like, you know how like that's the other part that's so crazy about this, right? You know how easy it would be to be on here like, yo, man, that shit that happened to Donald Trump today.
Yeah.
That was fucked up. And y'all are fucked up for doing that. You know how easy I could like make how easy it would be to just be on some right wing grifty tortoise shit. Like, there's so many people on YouTube who like
Rod and I have talked about that many times. That door is open for a black person who can talk. That door's open. That door's open for you.
Many.
That door's open for you.
They've done it. And they've done it. Was it the amazing Lucas dude? Like, ironically, like I've seen this dude. Like I've seen this cat like kind of like vacillate towards I'm on the fitness shit, but I'm gonna be on this right wing shit. But like now I'm you know, like once they built up the audience and like so like you know, like they can just move in that way and the money is there just because they are blackface willing to say the things that white people feel comfortable with.
Jay Full was saying in the chat, I knew Randolph was living his rap when he quit the NFL cold turkey. I walked away from the NFL for a while.
Pull it up.
It's still. Here's the thing about the NFL that I noticed, that walking away from it when Kaepernick was happening really teaches you how deeply embedded the NFL is in American culture, because you literally can't get away from it. Even if you're not watching, you know everything that's happening.
Yeah.
You can't get away from it. And at that time, I was working at a television station, so in DC. So, and the show that I wrote for, Dan Snyder was giving us something every day to write about. Every day he gave us something funny to bring on. That would be the first thing we would say in the production meetings. You'd be like, okay, what did he do? Did he do something? Was there something here we can talk about? Sure enough, there's going to be something. We had a gift. They had a sewage problem at the stadium, and sewage water was just raining down from like the third level onto the lower levels out into the crowd. We used that video we use it all the time. We were always trying to think of what's a way we can get this video on. Can we get the stadium video into this scene? I'll write it in. Don't worry about it. I'll get it in. Don't worry about it. That told us right there that told me right there. It just football is it's also a micro. I think all of sports is becoming this, but it's a really deep microcosm of American culture, particularly as it pertains to race.
Yeah.
So if you really want to know what's happening racial wise in this country, just kind of tune in on the NFL season. When you see the shit that's happening between, and even it's actually growing beyond that now with this guy Harrison. I can't say his name.
Bucker. Yeah,
Butker. Is it Butker?
Bucker. Harrison Bucker.
Now he's gone. He's drifting off into what women should do. So that's how I call that the MAGA effect. It's spreading out. Now this is what women should do, and it's coming out of the sporting world.
Yeah.
You can't get away from it. It's that deeply embedded into our society.
Well, not only that, like even when what was going on with like with Kaepernick, the there was always the misconception that sports was apolitical.
Oh, it's not.
There's
The people who say that are, first of all, they're lying.
Yeah, they're lying.
Secondly, they're talking about, they want it to be apolitical when they don't agree with your particular.
That's it.
With what you, and I don't even call it politics. I don't call advocating for Black lives to have value attached to them being a political statement. There's nothing political about that.
There's nothing political about, but they will attach politics to it.
Yeah. That's just the way to shut things down, because you're not supposed to talk about politics.
Yeah.
But yeah, if your thing, but if it ain't your thing, then.
But if it ain't your thing, we're not supposed to be talking about that.
Right.
Like I don't watch these games because of this. Like, well, wait a minute. So like the thing with the Kaepernick thing, and this is what I always thought was interesting when with the boycotts. You had white folk who were boycotting the NFL because they didn't like that the players were kneeling. And then you had black folk who were boycotting because they didn't like how the players who were kneeling were being treated. And at the same time, both sides were taking credit for the drop in ratings of the NFL, which they both probably could, but like they were taking credit for it for totally different meanings. The NFL was suffering, but only because you had some who were mad about this and some who were mad about that. But at the same time, y'all mad about the same thing, but for different reasons. And oftentimes, like when it came, I never, for me personally, I never did boycott the NFL. I didn't. Only like to be honest, man, like I felt as though like at a certain point when it came to the Kaepernick thing, when it came to the Kaepernick thing, at a certain point I started feeling like, with Kaepernick, bro, tell them what you really want. Tell them what you really want. For me.
Well, the thing is that articulating that what he wants is for Black lives to have value to them.
Right.
That's a hard thing to. It's a hard thing to quantify, and it's not a hard thing to quantify.
And how does that equate to
right
the NFL and you having a job in the NFL? Right.
Well, he just used the platform that he had, and it wasn't even a big thing. He was just sitting off by himself.
Yeah, and
I wasn't
put the camera
on.
I wasn't mad at him at all because he wasn't the only one who was doing it. Marshawn Lynch was doing the exact same fucking thing.
Right, just off by himself. But Marshawn was just like, I don't feel like doing this. He never gave a reason why, and no one ever pressed him. That's another thing about, what you mean you don't want to do this? No one ever pressed him.
They couldn't do that to Marshawn.
Yeah.
Marshawn was like, hey, man, like, this is what it is. That's it. I think to some degree, when it came to like the folks, because I know some folks who are still boycotting the NFL behind it, and I was like, so like I get it that like you don't want to watch because of what happened to Kaepernick, but like what like I don't, not that I'm advocating for the NFL, but what would it take for them to make it right to you? Yeah. Right? Like what would it take for them to make it right?
I don't fault anybody for, like I said, I never told anybody that. I never stood up and said, you all should start watching the NFL and stuff like that. I never stood up and did that.
In much the same way.
I still wouldn't, but what I would tell people is, okay, they don't give a fuck about you, right?
They don't.
They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about your community. I don't care how many ride-alongs they, which is the dumbest shit to me. Everybody knows where I stand on that. I don't care how many ride-alongs they do. I don't care how much money they say they're giving. And Rod on the show he was writing on, Bomani Jones's show, they
Yeah.
did a deep breakdown. The NFL is giving a lot of money to black people.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: the the current, let's say, management of the NFL with Roger Goodell and them, they have given money to black people, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Owners don't give a fuck about black people.
don't
They're openly hostile to black people. They're openly hostile. Unless you play for them and make them money, they're openly hostile to black people.
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck about it. That's Roger Goodell doing what he can do. That ain't that. He's not the NFL. He's an employee of the NFL.
He's an employee of the NFL, and he's also
not the NFL.
And it's his job. It's his job to make sure that the NFL is palatable to the most motherfucking like the biggest audience that they could possibly have.
The NFL is 32 motherfuckers and 8 families.
Yeah,
32 white motherfuckers. Well, 31 white motherfuckers. One. I guess he's Middle East. He's Pakistani. I don't know what he is. He's brown.
And one
brown motherfucker and they families. Yeah, Khan.
Yeah,
and they families. That's who the NFL is.
Nah,
and everybody else who thinks they're not. I shouldn't say, because the Packers are owned by I want to say all of Green Bay owns the Packers. Is that how that works?
I think so. I think you can buy a share of the Packers.
I think they've all bought shares. I don't know if there's a family that's the controlling.
I think they have like I think the town owns the team, but then they have like a managing board or some shit like that.
Yeah, some shit like that. But for the most part, no. And trust and believe, in Green Bay, they don't give a fuck about these black players.
Oh my god!
So, like I said, I won't tell somebody. You got to decide. You got to decide for yourself. Me personally, I was just like, I can't.
Nah, I used to fuck with people though. I used to fuck with people. I'd be like, yo, so you boycotting the NFL, but you ain't boycotting R. Kelly.
Oh, I got out R. Kelly, man. I got out of R. Kelly when the tape came out. That's how far back I go with R. Kelly.
Listen,
when the tape came out, I was like, I'm done. Yeah. I'm done. I never turned the music off, but he'll never get another dime out of me.
Listen, you got to understand, I'm from Chicago.
Yeah.
I just had a family reunion, and it was R. Kelly music being
y'all was stepping in the name of love.
I was not. I was not. And the first thing my wife did was look dead at me, because she was like, I know you hate this. But at the same time, like, my family, largely being from Chicago, like, and knowing what he means, unfortunately, what he means to people from Chicago, I'm just like, I'm gonna let these niggas cook. But this some bullshit. Like, this some bullshit. I'm not dancing in the name of nothing. Nigga. But
you ain't gonna step in the name of
no, sir.
In the name of teenage children, you ain't gonna do that.
I would have preferred to never play this nigga's music at all. But again, that's, to me, like, in my family, I know that's an unrealistic.
Step in the name of these young girls.
Nah, in my family, it's an unrealistic ask. I've already talked to these niggas. They know how I feel about it, but they played this nigga anyway. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna let these niggas cook, but this some bullshit. This some bullshit. But yo, man, check this out. Yo, Randolph.
Yes, sir.
We done had a good. I've had a damn good time talking to you,
man. Tonight. You got to come over to Three Guys On.
We're
gonna work that out.
We gotta do that. We gotta do that, man. Real talk. But before we get out of here, let everybody know how they can get in touch with you, brother.
You can hit me on my socials. Yes, if you hit me on at He Is Funny on X. He Is Funny on Twitter. I'll still respond to you. You can find me reach me at Randolph Terrance on Instagram, Randolph Terrance on Facebook, and Randolph Terrance on Threads. You can get me Randolph Terrance on Threads. Also, check out my Substack. It's called Rand Stack, RAND Stack, Rand Stack, Substack, Rand Stack. There's some of my writing is over there that you can go ahead and write and listen and check out some of the stuff I work on. I'd appreciate anybody who would go and check that out. Follow me on all my social stuff. Just Randolph Terrance, all over social. Just Google Randolph Terrance. I'm everywhere. And I appreciate anybody who, whenever I write something, put something up, give me some feedback on it. I appreciate y'all. Also, podcast, Three Guys On. We have a YouTube page. The word Three Guys On. We have a YouTube page, of course. We also have our Patreon, which is there's a lot of stuff behind that wall. Go come on behind that wall for
Don't be a freeloader.
Give us a few dollars, and we have the freeload episode that comes out on Thursday. We do have that episode. The unwashed masses, y'all, come on and come on and get some. Come on and get some. Myself and Andy Klein, yeah, we have a good time. We got Mr. Spann on with us now. That's gonna happen.
Hey man, I listen here, bro. Like I said, this is a long time
coming, man.
Long time overdue. I should have had Randolph on here a long time ago, man. Yeah. And I'm glad you reached out, brother, because like I was like, oversight on my part.
What's funny is that I very rarely do stuff like that.
But I'm glad you did.
And I think that it needs to be done more often amongst people like ourselves. People like ourselves, we need to do that more often. Reach out to people and build and just try to build big. We're already halfway there between all of our interactions and stuff to build a bigger community.
I want to say this. I think this is something that we did more when we were all new to it.
Yeah.
When we were all new to it, I think we were all kind of like, I want to have such and such. I want to have, and then like, life, and then like shows, and like these things, like it just happens, and then we kind of get into these, we kind of get into our mode, like we get into a rhythm of doing things a certain way, and like when you reached out, I'm like, how the fuck haven't I not had? How have I not had Randolph?
Well, when I saw that, I was like, I haven't done that.
Yeah, how have I not had Randolph?
A lot of shows I haven't done that one.
So yeah, man. I appreciate you, brother, for reaching out, man. And like, we gonna do this a hell of a lot.
You coming back on? You coming over to us? So that's gonna be the next thing we work on.
We got to do that. We got to do that, man. But before I get out of here, because even though I know y'all know how to do this, I'm gonna remind y'all how to get in touch with us over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and let your voice be heard. Go ahead and hit up our email at feedback@thespannreport.com. Okay, that's feedback@thespannreport.com. Leave us those emails. Of course, those emails will get read here and replied to here live on the show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, man. Leave us those comments on the YouTube channel, man. We really do appreciate everybody who leaves those comments, man. And subscribe to the YouTube channel, thespannreport.com. You will get these shows live on. Of course, we do this show live on YouTube and Facebook. But if you're following me on YouTube, man, subscribe to the channel. Leave us comments on the channel. We read those comments as we're doing the show, and we also will read those comments as part of our feedback when we do the show, the next show. You'll be a part. We're trying to get everybody's voices heard here on this platform, man. So we really appreciate everybody who does that. Follow me on Threads and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So go ahead, follow me there. Chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. Also on Spotify. We do have polls on Spotify. We have question and answers on Spotify. Participate in that, man. We appreciate everybody who does that. Another way for you to get your voice heard here on the show, man. Real talk. I appreciate Randolph for coming through, and we will talk to you guys again soon. But until next time, fam, peace.